Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. These expressions are so natural to us that we don't even think about them, but they can be really confusing if you're learning English. So today, I'm here to help you understand them and use them like a native speaker. Here's how you can get the most out of this video. First, listen while reading the subtitles. This will help you catch every word and follow along more easily. Then, play the video again and try to repeat the sentences out loud, but this time without reading the subtitles. This will really help you improve your pronunciation, listening, and speaking skills. Don't forget to pause and write down any new idioms or phrases you like. That way, you can remember and review them later. This is a great way to boost your listening, reading, and speaking, all at the same time. This lesson is a fun and simple way to improve your English step by step. Before we start, can I ask you a quick favor? If you're finding this video helpful, please like it. I really appreciate it. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what these expressions mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. These aren't just textbook phrases. These are the real expressions that your American friends, coworkers, and neighbors use every day. So let's get started. Number 1, just a little fender bender. This is such a common phrase, especially if you live in a busy city or drive a car. A fender bender is a small car accident. It's not serious, nobody gets hurt, and the damage is usually minor. The word fender refers to the part of your car that covers the wheels, and bender means something got bent or damaged a little bit. When someone says just a little fender bender, they're trying to make you feel better about a small accident. It's like saying, "Don't worry, it's not a big deal." People use this phrase to calm down a stressful situation. Let me tell you about my neighbor Sarah. Last week, she was backing out of her driveway and accidentally bumped into her husband's car. She was so upset and kept apologizing over and over. Her husband just smiled and said, "Honey, relax. It's just a little fender bender. The cars are fine and you're fine." That's all that matters. For example, if you accidentally scratch someone's car in a parking lot, you might say, "I'm so sorry about your car. It's just a little fender bender, but I'll pay for it to be fixed." You might hear something like, "Don't worry about it. It was just a little fender bender. These things happen." Here's another one. "I was running late this morning and had a little fender bender on my way to work, but everything's okay now." Have you ever been in a small car accident? This phrase is perfect for those moments when you want to make someone feel better about a minor problem. Let me know in the comments if you've ever used this expression. Number 2, I haven't even started it. This is probably one of the most honest phrases you'll ever hear. We use this when someone asks us about something we were supposed to do, but we haven't begun doing it yet. It's very straightforward and direct. Usually, people say this when they feel a little embarrassed or apologetic about not starting something. It's like admitting, "Okay, you caught me. I haven't done anything yet." But it's also honest, which people appreciate. I remember when I was in college, my roommate asked me on Sunday night, "How's your research paper going? Isn't it due tomorrow?" I had to laugh and say, "I haven't even started it yet. I'm going to be up all night." She just shook her head and made me a big cup of coffee. That's what good friends do. For example, if your boss asks about a project that's due soon, you might say, "I'm sorry, but I haven't even started it. Can I have until Wednesday to finish?" You might hear something like, "How's dinner coming along? We have guests coming in an hour." And the response could be, "Oh no, I haven't even started it. Can you help me? Let's take this one. I bought this book 3 months ago, but I haven't even started it. I keep getting distracted by other things. Do you ever feel like there's something you should be doing, but you just haven't started? We've all been there. Which project or task are you avoiding right now? Tell me in the comments. Number 3, I have been on the phone all morning. This expression is so common in our daily lives, especially now that everyone has a phone. When someone says this, they're explaining why they've been busy or unavailable. It's a way to tell people what you've been doing with your time. The key here is all morning. This doesn't mean just one phone call. It means multiple calls, or maybe one really long call that took up your whole morning. People often say this when they're tired or frustrated from talking so much. My friend Lisa works in customer service, and she always says this. Last Tuesday, she came to lunch looking exhausted. When I asked her what was wrong, she said, I have been on the phone all morning with angry customers. I need this lunch break so badly. I could tell she was really stressed, so we just talked about happy things during lunch. For example, if your colleague asks why you didn't answer their email, you might say, Sorry, I have been on the phone all morning with our biggest client. I'll get back to you this afternoon. You might hear something like, I have been on the phone all morning trying to fix my internet problem. These tech support calls take forever. Here's another one. I wanted to call you earlier, but I have been on the phone all morning with my mom. She's planning my sister's wedding. Have you ever had one of those days when you just can't get off the phone? It's exhausting, isn't it? What's the longest phone call you've ever had? Share your story in the comments. Number 4, that was a close one. This is what we say when something bad almost happened, but we avoided it at the last second. It's like saying, wow, that was almost a disaster, but we're okay. People use this expression when they feel relieved after a scary or dangerous moment. You'll hear this phrase a lot in movies and TV shows, but it's also very common in real life. It's a way to acknowledge that something could have gone wrong, but thankfully, it didn't. I'll never forget what happened to me last month. I was crossing the street, and I was looking at my phone instead of paying attention. A car came really fast and had to slam on the brakes. The driver stopped just a few feet away from me. My heart was beating so fast. I waved to the driver to say thank you, and when I got to the other side of the street, I said to myself, that was a close one. I need to be more careful. For example, if you almost drop your phone down a storm drain, you might say, Whoa, that was a close one. I almost lost my phone forever. You might hear something like, the deadline for the project was today, and I finished it at 11:59 p.m. That was a close one. Let's take this one. I almost forgot my passport at home before my international flight. That was a close one. I would have missed my vacation. Have you ever had a moment where you thought, that was a close one? Those moments really make you appreciate how lucky you are sometimes. Tell me about your close call in the comments. Number 5, all's well that ends well. This is actually a quote from a famous play by William Shakespeare, but we use it in everyday conversation all the time. It means that if something has a good ending, then all the problems and difficulties along the way don't matter so much. It's like saying, everything worked out in the end, so don't worry about the problems we had. People usually say this after a stressful situation that finally got resolved. It's a way to look at the positive side and feel better about all the trouble you went through. My cousin Jenny had the most stressful wedding day ever. First, it rained even though the weather forecast said it would be sunny. Then the flowers were delivered to the wrong address. The DJ was late and the cake was the wrong flavor. But you know what? The ceremony was beautiful, everyone had fun at the reception, and Jenny and her husband were so happy. At the end of the night, Jenny's mom looked at all of us and said, "Well, all's well that ends well. What a perfect day." And she was right. For example, if you had a really difficult time at work this week, but you finally finished a big project successfully, you might say, "It was a tough week, but all's well that ends well." The client loved our work. You might hear something like, "We got lost on our road trip and the hotel lost our reservation, but we found an even better place to stay. All's well that ends well." Here's another one. "I was worried about my job interview because I was so nervous, but they offered me the position. All's well that ends well." Do you believe that everything happens for a reason? Sometimes the difficult moments in our lives lead us to something even better. What's a time when you could say, "All's well that ends well," about your own experience? I'd love to hear your story. Number 6, too much for me. This is such a useful expression. When something is too much for you, it means it's more than you can handle. It could be too difficult, too expensive, too complicated, or just too overwhelming. It's a polite way to say, "I can't do this," or "I don't want to deal with this." People use this phrase when they want to be honest about their limits. It's not embarrassing to say something is too much for you. Actually, it shows that you know yourself well and you're being realistic. My friend Tom is really good with computers, so people always ask him to fix their technical problems. Last week, his neighbor asked him to set up a whole new computer system for her small business. Tom looked at everything she needed and said, "I'm sorry, but this is too much for me. You need to hire a professional IT person. I can help you find someone good, though." His neighbor was grateful that he was honest instead of trying to do something he couldn't handle. For example, if someone asks you to help them move to a new apartment, but you have a bad back, you might say, "I'd love to help, but lifting heavy furniture is too much for me. Can I help you pack boxes instead?" You might hear something like, "I looked at the price of that car and it's just too much for me. I need to find something cheaper." Let's take this one. "My boss wants me to work overtime every night this week, but that's too much for me. I need to talk to her about it." It's important to know your limits and be honest about them. What's something that would be too much for you? Maybe learning 5 languages at once, or running a marathon without training? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 7, enough is enough. This is a really powerful expression that shows someone is frustrated and they're not going to accept a bad situation anymore. When you say enough is enough, you're drawing a line and saying this has to stop now. It's like saying, "I've had all I can take." People usually say this when they've been patient for a long time, but finally they can't take it anymore. It's the moment when someone decides to take action or make a change. I have a great example from my own life. I used to have a roommate who never cleaned the kitchen. For months, I washed her dishes, cleaned up her messes, and tried to be nice about it. But one day, I came home and found the kitchen completely destroyed again. There was food everywhere, dirty dishes piled up, and it even smelled bad. I looked at the mess and said, "Enough is enough. We need to have a serious talk." That night, I told her she needed to start cleaning up after herself or find a new place to live. She was surprised, but she started being more responsible after that. For example, if your coworker keeps interrupting you in meetings, you might finally say, "Enough is enough. I need to be able to finish my sentences when I'm speaking." You might hear something like, "I've been patient with this noisy neighbor for 6 months, but enough is enough. I'm calling the landlord." Here's another one. "My teenager keeps breaking curfew every weekend. Enough is enough. No more going out for a month. Have you ever reached a point where you said enough is enough? Sometimes we need to stand up for ourselves and set boundaries. What situation pushed you to your limit? Tell me about it in the comments. Number 8. It's beyond my control. This is what we say when something is happening that we can't change or influence. Beyond my control means that no matter what we do, we can't make it different. It's like saying, I have no power over this situation. People often use this phrase when they're apologizing for something or explaining why they can't fix a problem. It's not an excuse, it's just being honest about what you can and can't control. My sister works as a flight attendant, and she uses this phrase all the time. Last month, I was flying to visit my family, and my sister was working on my flight. We were sitting on the plane for 2 hours because of bad weather, and the passengers were getting really angry. My sister made an announcement. I know this delay is frustrating for everyone, but the weather is beyond my control. As soon as it's safe to fly, we'll be on our way. The passengers understood that she was just trying to keep everyone safe. For example, if you're late to work because of a traffic jam, you might say, I'm sorry I'm late, but there was a huge accident on the highway. The traffic was beyond my control. You might hear something like, I wanted to have the party outside, but it started raining. The weather is beyond my control, so let's move everything inside. Let's take this one. I know you're disappointed that the concert was canceled, but the singer got sick. That's beyond my control. It's important to understand the difference between things you can control and things you can't. What's something in your life that's beyond your control? How do you deal with those situations? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 9, give me another chance. This is probably one of the most hopeful expressions in English. When someone says, give me another chance, they're asking for the opportunity to try again or to make things right. It's like saying, I made a mistake, but I can do better if you let me try again. People use this phrase when they really care about something or someone and they don't want to give up. It shows that they're willing to work hard to improve or fix what went wrong. I remember when my friend Mark was in college, he failed his first math exam really badly. He was so upset because he needed to pass that class to graduate. He went to his professor's office and said, Professor, I know I did terribly on the exam, but please give me another chance. I wasn't prepared, but I promise I'll study harder. Can I take a makeup exam or do extra credit? The professor could see that Mark was serious about improving, so she gave him some extra assignments. Mark worked really hard, and he ended up passing the class with a B+. For example, if you had a bad job interview, you might email the company and say, I know I was nervous during the interview, but I really want this job. Could you give me another chance to show you what I can do? You might hear something like, I'm sorry I forgot our dinner plans last week. I was overwhelmed with work, but that's not an excuse. Give me another chance to show you that you're important to me. Here's another one. I know I let the team down during the presentation, but give me another chance. I promise I'll be more prepared next time. Everyone deserves a second chance sometimes, don't you think? When was the last time you asked for another chance, or when did you give someone else another chance? How did it work out? I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Number 10, watch your language. This is what we say when someone uses bad words or inappropriate language. Watch your language means be careful about what you say or don't use those words. It's a way to tell someone that their language is not appropriate for the situation. Parents say this to their children all the time, but adults also say it to each other, especially in professional settings or when there are children around. It's a polite way to ask someone to speak more appropriately. I have a funny story about this. My friend Dave is a construction worker, and he's used to using pretty rough language at work. Last year, he came to my niece's birthday party, and he was telling us a story about his job. He started using some words that weren't appropriate for a kid's party. My sister looked at him and said, "Dave, watch your language. There are 5-year-olds here." Dave's face turned red and he said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I forgot where I was." After that, he was very careful about his words, and he even helped my niece with her birthday games. For example, if your coworker starts using inappropriate language during a meeting, you might say, "Hey, watch your language. We have clients on this call." You might hear something like, "I know you're frustrated, but watch your language. My grandmother is sitting right here." Let's take this one. Watch your language around the kids. They repeat everything they hear. Language is so powerful, isn't it? The words we choose can make people feel comfortable or uncomfortable. Do you think it's important to watch your language in different situations? What's your opinion on this? Let me know in the comments. Wow, we covered a lot today. These 10 expressions are so common in American English, and now you know exactly what they mean and how to use them. Remember, learning a language isn't just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about understanding how people really talk and what they really mean when they say things. Let's do a quick recap of what we learned today. We talked about just a little fender bender for small accidents. I haven't even started it, for being honest about not beginning something, and I have been on the phone all morning for explaining why you've been busy. We learned about that was a close one for near misses. All's well that ends well for happy endings after difficult times, and too much for me for knowing your limits. We also covered enough is enough, for when you can't take something anymore. It's beyond my control for things you can't change. Give me another chance for asking to try again, and watch your language for inappropriate words. These expressions will help you sound more natural when you speak English, and they'll also help you understand what native speakers really mean when they talk to you. The more you use these phrases, the more comfortable you'll become with them. I want to ask you something. Which of these 10 expressions was your favorite today? Which one do you think you'll use first in your own conversations? And have you heard any of these before in movies, TV shows, or real life? I'm really curious to know. Don't forget to like this video if it helped you learn something new. And make sure to subscribe to our channel because tomorrow, I'll be back with 10 more common idioms, phrases, and sentences that will make your English sound even more natural. We're building your vocabulary step by step, and I'm so proud of the progress you're making. Take care and keep practicing your English. You're doing great, and I believe in you. Remember, every day you practice is a day you get closer to speaking English like a native speaker. I'll see you tomorrow for more fun expressions. Until then, keep learning and keep smiling.